Hey, we're going live, man.
We're live, pal. I'm sorry. Let me do that again.
Ah, too bad. Too
Yeah,
bad,
we're
brother.
we're live, pal. It's
Too bad.
barbecue.
I'm talking about you.
Hey, I used barbecue over sooner.
Yeah, we. That's what I'm talking about. What's going down with the man?
Not all heck of a lot. I apologize to the people watching. I was telling the man that I didn't got myself a cold. And so I sound bad. I apologize for the way I sound, but I don't feel bad. So normally, this is my
That's a
brother and
good
I
sign.
know are like this, that we feel worse and sound perfectly okay. And then once we get here, we actually feel a little bit better. But I
Yeah.
am sorry about the sound of my voice, but we got cool stuff we got to talk about, so
Got
got to get in there and
get
knock it
my
out.
immune system to give it the old right there, Fred.
That's right, man.
So, and if y'all know this about me, I like my liquor or beer to taste like soda pop. So if you haven't tried the Wicked Black Cherry, run on out and get you some. The Wicked apple's good. The cherry's even better.
That's awesome, man.
Soda drink beer.
You can't go wrong with it. It's the vape of booze.
Heck yeah, man.
That's right, man. Gotta have all them fun flavors for the kids.
Delicious.
They're delicious. It's booze for the whole family.
Well, yeah, man.
Yeah.
That, what, I had to get with the man to talk about the WandaVision TV show that I've been, you know, obsessed over for the past 8 weeks, whatever it's been.
I finally finished it up. I started it yesterday and watched the first six and then did the last three today. So I am with you. We can discuss it. Thank you a ton for holding out this long. Now we can discuss it.
That's all good, man. What's the verdict? Is
Um, I'll give you the short verdict
mm-hmm.
and then we'll talk about it for the rest of the show.
Fuck yeah.
If y'all have seen the program before, and I know the man knows because he's had here a bunch of times, man, on my pecking order, on my list of all the Marvel cinematic stuff, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Top of my head, I don't remember what was number two, but it ain't number two anymore.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I
Hell yeah.
loved it. I absolutely loved it. The first 8 episodes. I just every single one. I was more and more excited and more
Mm-hmm.
excited. I loved it. I thought it was so cool.
Yeah.
It's as far as I, I don't even want to say content, but just how open, how many possibilities you've got with the magic story. We talked about
Mm-hmm.
it, man. It's exactly what I hoped they would do. It was awesome. It is exactly what I hoped it would be, and then there were tons of things in it that I didn't know I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
and was real happy that I got. I thought they did a great job. I loved it.
I think the the pedal to the floor really gets going when it goes to color. Number one, but then the Halloween episode
Yeah,
was the first. Not. Yeah, it probably was the first one. The second it was over, I was like, I got to watch that again.
I can dig it.
I got to see that one again.
Four,
Every one of them after that, I'm like, yeah, I'm watching that again.
4, 5, and 6 were all a big deal to me. 5 was the one where you really start to get the step backs where Darcy shows up and they start to
Mm-hmm.
explain a little bit more of what's going on and how you. I thought it was going to be right there in the middle. That was my favorite part. I just loved it. 4,
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm with the. There's a thing that. How do I explain it? I thought the beekeeper scene was cool.
Mm-hmm.
The beekeeper coming out of the sewer. I
Mm-hmm.
liked that. But I
Yeah.
thought the second time, because after the beekeeper comes out and they go back in the house, okay, we're resetting and going again, and that's when the color starts and all that's cool. But it was the second time. It's the second time when Vision is talking to her about, I don't know if I don't things don't seem right here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if do we not belong here? And you get the reset, and it literally looks like they. It's so subtle and so smooth. It looks like the app
Yeah.
shut down. But they
Mm-hmm.
made it so smooth and so cool as opposed to because the first time they'll show you it's like physically rewinding and we're resetting and going back. But the second time it's like, oh, she's getting better at this.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
came out my chair on that. I thought that was so good, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it wouldn't surprise me because Paul Bettany is a very good actor. but the first half of that line about, he deadpanned that shit the exact same way both times, so that when it starts over again, it really does look like the app has gone back and just triggered back a few seconds, and then he carries off in a totally new line. And I loved it. I thought it was so cool. I had heard that the theme songs were particularly fun, like the opening credits and the theme songs, and I totally agree. I think it's cool.
Oh yeah.
It's different every time, and that was a really just a neat and very fun idea. I'm talking a lot, man. Jump in here, brother. What do you think?
Nah, man, talking about the theme songs, man. The Agatha All Along song was #1 on iTunes. A 47-second song.
I would believe it. I would totally believe it. Somebody.
I freaking love the Monsters theme.
Yeah.
And to make it sound like that, like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm a huge Munsters fan. They had a couple I really liked. The Office one, the instrumental one, was my favorite. That was awesome. I would buy that one. But Agatha All Along, my thing that I loved about that was somebody, and I did not see this beforehand. I'm happy to say that this was afterwards. But somebody had taken a picture, and it was the picture of her at the end. With I killed Sparky too, but it's just her sitting there holding the dog all wrapped up, and it's a picture of her and a picture of Emma Stone's Cruella DeVille. And the tweet just said, "Damn, really, Disney really did just say fuck them dogs." Real, like Disney's dog villainesses are hard, man.
The meme that I saw was Catherine Hahn's cackle holding the dog, and the caption under it said, "I broke up Daft Punk too."
Oh, that's cool, man. that was good.
So I was like, "Oh, that's mean. That's mean."
You said, "Don't say it."
Fuck you, Agatha. That's some bullshit.
Yeah, I loved her character. I thought that was very cool. I thought another thing that just popped in my head as far as this is episode 8. Sorry. When the guy said it, it's not like, oh, this is what they're going to do. I did not pick up on what they were doing. But I thought it was incredibly cool, and apparently I needed it. The way they managed to work into the script, and I don't know what episode it was, but it was the Wu character that was talking to the main dude that was running Shield.
Yeah.
And the way they managed to work I think his line was something like, okay, so Maximoff, okay, that's all they call her. She didn't have any weird little nickname like the rest of them. It's very cool to remind us they've never dropped the title on her. Yeah. So that when they do, that was awesome. I loved that because it was just a very cool thing that it's not a superhero name. It's a rank. And I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah. Somewhere down the line, somehow, that's one of the things that Fox owned.
Sweet.
And that's part of what they got back. And they're like, you think we ain't going to use that?
That's so good, though.
Strap in.
Well, it's another one of those things we talk about, man. Sometimes the best thing you can write is a haiku. It just works better that way. Mm-hmm. So, okay, if you retain Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, we're going to use Wanda Maximoff and Pietro Maximoff, and we'll see how it works out down the line. But in the meantime, we're going to create within those parameters, and that's so good. That was such a good decision, man. I loved that. I was very impressed.
It's from the first episode when you have Mom from That 70s Show and her husband, the Hearts,
that guy
coming over for dinner. That was the scene to me of him choking and Vision kind of saying, "Do I do this?"
Stop it.
That was about as, to me, about as lynchy as we're going to get on Disney Plus, but about it's just freaky dicky.
Oh, there was absolute. Pardon me. There were absolute bathtubs full of Twin Peaks gin all in that show. I'm totally with you. There was lots of Dave everywhere. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I thought that Stop It was interesting. Mm-hmm. Especially when we brought it back up again later when she bust out the Vision's body. I loved it. There were a lot of things in it. I really should have taken more notes, man, but there were lots of things in it that just I was amazed with. But that guy, I think it's Fred Malamud, I think is his name.
Mm-hmm.
That dude is out of this world. Everything he shows
Yeah.
up in, I am just blown away by. He was in Serious Man, which that's my Coen Brothers
Oh,
movie, and he
yeah.
was the sweet.
Very appropriately titled
Oh
Coen Brothers
man,
movie.
he was the sweetheart schmoozer neighbor who's such a good guy. Man, it's fantastic. Excellent to see you. Thank you for inviting me over. And I brought this wine. Now, when you pour this wine, you must decant. Let it breathe. Letting it breathe. Very important. That guy. And he's the one that's, shacking up with
He's,
Serious Man's wife.
yeah, yeah.
And he dies in that one, too. He is also Maria Bamford's agent on Lady Dynamite.
I'll
And
split.
it's like he could not be more. The only reason you know it's him is because of what he looks like. He's that guy. He's got that cool beard. He's the man. But he is so different in all three of those things. I'm like, man, there's nothing you can give this guy that he can't kill. I just love him. Every time he shows up, I love him.
The thing I remember that actor from is he is the psychiatrist that tries to send Larry David a bill after talking to him in the Mookie Betts line.
Oh yes, that's awesome, man.
Waiting in line to get something signed by Mookie Betts. He's discussing something like, we're off the clock. We're off the clock.
We're off the clock.
Yeah.
Or Larry. Yeah.
But that just from there, and I just felt like once it gets to color, it definitely okay. The gas pedal has been pushed, and it just was from then on. It's like every episode just kind of ramps up. Like, oh man, it's getting better and better.
Yeah, that's what happened to me too, man. Is literally at the end of every one, I was like, "Oh my god, that was better than the last one." Oh crap, that was better than the last one. I had the exact same up until the very end. It's not just the very end. I was explaining earlier that the end is fine. It's just that the end, all episode 9 is just the fight scene. That's
Yeah.
totally okay. It's what they build to. It's what you need, and they did a good job with it. I thought the little reveal of the crown of the Scarlet Witch was awesome. That was
Oh
cool,
hey.
and all the coven like have her on the stake and all that, and they
Mm-hmm.
all kind of freak out. And I was like, that's very cool.
Like, oh damn.
I thought that given the nice little fan service of getting White Vision in there was very cool because
Yeah.
it's like, well, that's cool. I didn't even think of that, and I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's neat. I'm glad they did that. Um,
People had said that he went to White Vision when he was killed by Thanos. Like, y'all, I never saw it that way. I
yeah,
didn't
I
see
didn't.
that.
No,
Mm.
I think we just got White Vision. I think it's different, but yeah, I totally missed that. If that happened, I didn't see it either.
And that's I'm just going by just stuff that I've had people have said in reviews and stuff. And I'm like, y'all, I think White Vision's still on the horizon. We haven't seen it yet. So, and when by all means we did in
Yeah,
this
it was cool.
story.
Yeah, it was cool, man. I for the Halloween episode, man, I
Mm-hmm.
thought that it's stupid, but the kids running around, the one of them dressed up like Uncle Pietro, and the
Mm-hmm.
other one in the Wiccan costume is just awesome. Because if you read Young Avengers and you know Wiccan, it's like, oh, that's awesome. So that's very,
Yeah.
very cool. I thought the very, very interesting way to wrap up the kid storyline. That was good. That was very,
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily know if I want to talk about this right now or not, but I will.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how juicy, how juicy is that ball floating in the air now? Where something that I'm very proud to say, you and I talked about this before, as something that would be really cool if they wanted to do it. How about that casting of Pietro?
Yeah.
You go
Yeah.
matzo ball, man. So that's a big
Mm-hmm.
one still floating up in the air. Like, if we want to get back to that, well, no, they explained that away. Agatha just, yeah, but why did it work?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't look anything like the Pietro Maximoff that we know from the Marvel universe. Why would it work? There's a lot of
Yeah.
places you can go with that. There's a
Yeah.
lot of places you could go with that. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
this is so cool. It was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was part of it's just like anything else. It's like most uh, show or leading up to a movie, the stuff that people predict and they get right, they double down on, and the stuff that they were miles away from. Like, well, we won't mention that because I heard every rumor under the sun that and I did the same thing when uh, Rambo mentions astrophysicist. I was like, don't tell me that's going to be Dr. Reed that shows up, and that didn't happen. But I heard rumors about Michael Fassbender showing up to be the Wanda and Pietro's parents in a scene. I heard rumors about Al Pacino. There was rumors about Cumberbatch showing up, and I was fine with none of that happening.
No, because
I like it the way it was.
You take a shit on the show if you do that. It's the same thing.
And now I will say that the first end credit scene that we got, I was kind of like, that ain't it. There's got to be more. And I like the actual end credit scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we got.
I can dig it, man. Reed had this conversation in the last half of the movies too.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that with Reed. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
And they found now, I mean, obviously, if Captain Marvel didn't teach you, be careful who you have come in, you got to be careful because everybody still shits all over that character because they hate her. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't want Reed anywhere near WandaVision because it was good the way it was. And as far as Doctor Strange, his cameo was perfect. Perfect. Just Catherine Hahn making the reference.
Yeah.
Your powers will go beyond that of the Sorcerer Supreme. That was totally enough.
Yeah.
That was perfect. That was great because they referenced it and got him in there, and you didn't have to do anything else. That was cool. That totally worked, man.
And one of the reviews that I think makes a lot of sense. I don't know that I totally agree with it, but you have the end credit scene of Wanda doing her projection of studying and doing her Doctor Strange kind of deal.
Learning, book learning.
Yeah, and them dark setting up them dark arts. They still believe that she doesn't know him yet, and because she was in Wakanda, he was on another planet, and their paths had never crossed in the movies. And I'm like, maybe not. But they've all but come out and said that they're definitely going to meet up in his next movie. So it's going to happen. But one of the things that was really, and people go over these shows with such a fine-tooth comb. There's stuff that I'm like, y'all heard that? There's no way you heard that the first time. You had to go back and listen to it 10 times. But in her Doctor Strange projection, dark arts learning scene, when she has that kind of look, very faintly in the background, you can hear the kids. So I was like, okay, sweet. They are. Well, I don't think that's the last we've seen of them.
No, I don't think so either. I'm standing by. I'm still that as far as I do hope, honestly, that not if, when Magneto shows up, I am hoping they will do Fassbender. That's why I love that that's the kid. They got that kid from that version of the X-Men because you don't have to do it with everybody. Well, we'll get to where I think that's headed in a minute. But as far as Doctor Strange, I am still, I will say it now, and hopefully I'll remember so I can remember what video to send people to. The whole thing, when Stephen Strange looks over at Tony Stark and goes, it wasn't him saying, yeah, Tony, you got to die. It was him saying, yeah, Tony, we got to let her go and we got to roll the dice. All of this is about Wanda. Now, that shit I've been saying since Age of Ultron. So allow me to triple down on the shit I've been talking. And also, I would love to see the streaming numbers on Age of Ultron since WandaVision. Because I fucking told people, you will come back to it. You can piss on Joss Whedon all you want to. And his Avengers movies weren't that good. The first one was good because of Hulk, but Age of Ultron was terrible. You'll be back. You will be back. And you'll be glad you came back because it was real cool.
That reminds me of another prediction that I was kind of this close to kind of hoping for is we have the end credit scene we have Sword that has put Vision back together and made White Vision. He never speaks. Part of me was kind of hoping that White Vision would be voiced by James Spader.
That would be cool. That'd be a very, very cool thing.
I kind of thought, man, that could work, but who knows? I was still fine with it the way things went down. I was like, man,
Sure.
that could be something.
Yeah, that'd be cool, man. I hate that. We've talked about that many times before, and I will say I'm very, very happy that anybody I've ever talked to about James Spader was so wacky as Ultron that what you and I have discussed about his
James Spader's a wacky dude in the first place.
Dude, as soon as you break down the parentage, kind of hard to argue with it. Yeah. I'm sorry that you think that Ultron should be mean and hateful and ridiculous, but that was Hank Pym's insecurity. Tony Stark doesn't have any of that. So it's Stark's kid. And we all thought that the little, bobbin running around in Infinity War that was his kid was so funny because, she's just like her daddy. Yeah, his son was too. It's like, as soon as you explain that to people, it's like, oh, I guess that does make sense. Yeah. Yes, because I'm a complete psycho nerd who spends too much time thinking about this stuff.
The books are their own thing. The movies are, you're not going to get a 1-for-1.
No, on anything, ever.
And it makes plenty of sense. If Ultron in the MCU is based on Tony, then you're going to get a lot more of that smart-assy kind of wisecracky killer robot.
I agree completely. Makes all the sense in the world, man. That's where I'm at too. Excuse me. I don't remember. There was something else fairly specific on the show I wanted to point out.
And,
I don't remember what it was.
Speaking of stuff being created by Tony, there's a line that Paul Bettany has as Vision at the end when he knows he's starting to understand that dead is dead, and he says something about how I was once just a voice.
Oh God.
So
it's why I really don't want to sound like I'm trashing episode 9. 9's fun. 9 goes to where it has to go to. It's an action series. You got to have an action. It's no problem. It's all good. But I thought Wanda's goodbye to the kids was very good, and I thought their pause button between each other was great. So good. And his line, I loved it. I'm with you. The line, if I remember correctly, I only watched it once, but if I remember correctly, it was, I was a voice without a body. I've been a voice without a body. I've been a body without a soul, and the reincarnation of pure memory. Who knows what I'll be next? I was like, oh boy, that's good. That's real good. And then the send off, right as they're like, the big red wave is coming, and he looks at Wanda and he says, "We've said goodbye before, so it stands to reason." And she interrupts him and says, "Well, say hello again." And I'm like, that is awesome. That is just so good, man. Yeah. But there are so many references, again, to like where all this is going and hopefully where it's going to wind up. Because I still say that Wanda is the link to getting the X-Men in the Disney stuff. And of course, that has to be inevitable. There's no way that's not what they're going to do. I noticed with the Disney Plus app, when you're picking out your little avatar for what you want your picture to be, the whole bottom row, just X-Men, not Marvel, X-Men. I was like, they know what they're doing, man. This is very good. But the point I was going to make earlier is, it's fun to go on YouTube every now and again and watch studio reactions to On Your Left, to watch studio reactions to I'm Inevitable, I'm Iron Man. Okay. I want you to try and remember what that felt like. Then I want you to take where we are right now and add 5 to 10 years to where we are. And then imagine what the scene is going to be like once Magneto is ruling the world and he must be put into his place. And you start doing more time traveling and hopping and all that good stuff because, Reed Richards can do that. And Reed will be in the story by then. But when Reed pops out and you get Chris Evans as Steve Rogers, then you get Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. And then you get Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Theaters will literally explode from the collective orgasm. That is what I believe Disney's building to. That's what they want, because we won't see Tony for a long time. I don't think we'll see Chris Evans for a long time. And the whole like Hugh Jackman's done with Wolverine, he'll never play him again. Okay,
Yeah.
all right,
We don't need Hugh Jackman. We'll just put him in there anyway.
exactly.
Mhm.
So it's like
Mhm.
it's gonna be fine. And Hugh's a sport; he'll do it anyway. But anyway, that's gonna be cool though, because people will absolutely shit themselves when
Mhm.
you get all those characters back, and for good measure, because that's a bunch of sausage. Put ScarJo back in there, man. There's nobody
Mhm.
can't come back. Like we said, man, the joke about the 616 was always the only people that stay dead are Uncle Ben and Bucky. And
Yeah.
somebody said it to Ed Brubaker, and he was like, Winter Soldier, hey?
Hmm.
Which is just hilarious that he took
Is
the
that
old
is that a challenge?
he took the old joke and he was like, yeah, but what if?
Hmm.
That's just awesome, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uncle Ben, you're on your own. Ed Brubaker writing school.
Oh man.
Proud.
God.
You get to come back the next time we got to reboot Spider-Man. I'm gonna kill you again, but you know, them's the breaks.
Come back and do that dying thing you like to do so well.
Real good at that, Ben. Real good. You're real good at inspiring your uncle to be your nephew to be Spider-Man. Why don't you come back and do that again?
Yeah. How about it?
I'm
Man.
bummed because I know there was something else. I can tell you this part from the show that as far as like episode, I think it was five. Five was the one where they really, as far as I remember, four was the one where I cannot remember what her name in WandaVision was. But I'm pretty sure the end of episode four is where Monica gets
Thrown out.
ejected,
Yeah.
ejected from Westview.
Hmm.
And so five is the one that is mostly outside, and you find out more about the kids that are in Sword and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And I really enjoyed them, man. I thought the Wu character was cool. I mean, Darcy's fun. It's the thing with Darcy is it's just the click clack character. Whoever the computer savvy character in any of the Avengers movies is, it's literally just sit down, watch every Robert Downey Jr. movie, and then deliver your lines like you're him. That's it.
Hmm.
That's her. That's Cherie. It's Tony Stark. That's it. If you're the smart one, sound like Tony because we need that in our story. It's like you and I talked about with the friction in the books between Hawkeye and Steve. We need that, but we just need it to be with different people. So we're going to do it with Steve and Tony instead, which their movies, they're streamlined, makes a lot more sense. Same thing here. People love that character. So keep giving it to them. But
Yeah.
anyway, it was good to see her again, and I like that character. And there wasn't anything on it. I thought that the twitchy bad guy for Sword was like, okay, whatever. It was just kind of
Yeah.
silly, like, oh, they want their sentient weapon back. No, the big bad military guy wants the Vision back so he can turn him into a weapon. I'm shocked. But anyway, it's fine because that didn't. Who cares? None of that stuff. It was fine. If, for what they were trying to do with the story, it was totally cool. And Agatha
But
was
they,
great.
but
I
they,
thought that Catherine Hahn was just great. Period. Like one of the things when she
Mhm.
came, this was during their crap. I think it was the Family Ties episode, if you
Mhm.
will, their '80s show.
Mhm.
But when she comes over and she's like rocking the twins to sleep because they're still babies for the moment,
Yeah.
and she's like going to help them out, and Vision's all like, I don't necessarily think that Agnes. Well, what's going on here? She's like, no,
Yeah.
no, Agnes, you know what? That's okay. I'll take care of it. It'll be all fine. And I loved it because she like looks over at Wanda and is like, you want to do a reset? You do that again from the that was so good, man. Her like
Yeah.
calling for like the okay, strike that. We're gonna go back and fix this, right? We're gonna do that again, aren't we, huh? That was so
Mhm.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that stuff. I also like the way it was played, that whole thing where she was just explaining like, I know what you are. You're supposed to be a myth, but here you are. This is fascinating what you're doing. Tell me how you do it. That's cool.
Mhm.
It was cool,
Yeah.
man. I thought all that
Yeah.
was real good, man. But I did feel a little bit bad for her when she's explaining. She's turning her little um oh, what the heck are those things called, man? It's I'm sorry, I can't think of what it is, but the insect. She turns it into the bird before she feeds it to the rabbit.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's a cicada looking thing.
cicada, yes, that's exactly what I was trying to think of. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
But she's talking about centuries in order to figure this out. You just shoot this crap out your butt. That's not fair. Why don't you tell me
Yeah.
what your secret is, jerk?
Hmm. Yeah. I, I ain't, I ain't so. I'm, I'm just impressed. I'm not mad.
Yeah.
Just tell me.
I'm not mad yet. I'm
Mhm.
impressed. So why don't you help me out here?
Mhm.
Anyway,
Then I'll
I'm
then I'll
sorry.
be mad.
Yeah, then I'll be mad. Then I'll just give me all your magic. Then I'll kill you. That, by the way, speaking of which, of the give me all your magic and then I'll kill you.
Mhm.
I thought the rune scene in episode 9 was,
Yeah.
man, that was so cool. That
Yeah.
was very,
Yeah.
very good. Like, oh, good job, y'all.
You've been in mine all along.
Yeah,
You know.
Wanda's a quick study. Good for
Yeah.
her.
So, but yeah, that was another talking about Catherine Hahn. That was the Agatha all along. I'll go back to it. Just that was where I kind of it dawned on me who she was, and it goes back through the episodes and just how much just a hairstyle can change somebody's look up. I was like, oh my god,
It's
that's been
true.
her this whole time.
Yeah, dude, seriously, man. It was awesome. She was great. She was so great because even when it was just the comedy character, it was fun. I liked it.
Hmm. Man, that's it's just uh, and I going back and talking about Martha. Uh, that was one of the things that somebody pointed out in a review that I'm I was there when she gets cast out of the hex. Uh, there was somebody pointed out that the whole uh, trope in television of breaking the fourth wall. She flies through four walls outside into the world, and you know, I I thought it was the Agatha All Along uh, song. I thought was just kind of like a nice throwback to her landing in the field. It was Wanda. It was Wanda. You know. So I I dug that. And if there's one eye roll scene in the whole show, and there's I'm gonna find something to eye roll about and anything I ever watched, but uh, Rambo showing up and having her little confrontation with uh, Wanda, and she has some line about "It's my truth." That's just one of those lines that in recent history. It's anytime I hear a character or anybody in real life say that, I'm like, it's the hashtag of
Yeah,
recent. It's
those are the
oh
it
Christ.
it got used twice, and so it's the Stampy line. It's the to let you know that this was made in 2021. So
Mm-hmm.
it's fine, man. Whatever they want to do. I did think it was cute that they sowed the seeds of Monica Rambeau really, really not having much use for old Carol. I thought that was
Mm-hmm.
quite funny. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's cool, man. It's weird. I
Yeah.
had that conversation with my friends. Like, well, I thought you liked Carol. I do, but she's an insufferable person. It goes back to mine in your conversation about how it really is the Green Lantern of Marvel Comics. Intergalactic space police force of
Mm-hmm.
superheroes kind of spearheaded or led by an experimental fighter pilot from the United States. Fighter pilot flyboys are fucking jerks, and
Mm-hmm.
Carol's one of them. That's it. And that's
Yeah.
the whole thing. If you're not going to make Carol a drunk, you've taken out what made that character so interesting anyway,
Mm-hmm.
because it was the push and the insane drive to be the best. Carol, I've said it before, said this before too. Carol Danvers is Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about what you've done, it's about what you're going to do. And so she's not likable. Don't try and make her likable. I don't, man, I don't like Carol. Good, you're not fucking supposed to. And especially in
Yeah.
this case, because they are clearly going to replace her. I
Mm-hmm.
thought the second that Maria Rambeau showed up, it's like, well, if you've got Rambos in the story, Carol's about to get kicked because that's just what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I believe anyway. Anyhow, but yeah, I like the literal four walls. I thought that was very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very good use of Daydream Believer. I enjoyed hearing that. I like that song anyway, and I was like, that's quite good, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, man, there were
Yeah.
more
The,
specifics, and I just don't
the,
remember
the
what
the
they
one the one thing I did remember liking a lot about the Rambo character in particular. I don't mean to make it sound like I didn't like that character. It's just
Oh
that
no, no.
particular scene. I liked seeing somebody come back from the snap the way they did.
Yeah, that was. I thought that was very cool that she did it. I also thought it was interesting and a very realistic choice to have. She ain't the first one. She's in the middle of this spot where this is happening, and it's a hospital, and they are on code fucking red. And I was like,
Yeah.
see, that also for me is that's a hashtag moment for right now, because that's literally, yeah, this was every hospital when COVID first broke, when no one gave a shit, when it was all like, hey man, don't overbook the emergency rooms, don't flood the emergency rooms, don't do it. And it just seems to me like somebody put two and two together on that scene and was like, boy, that would be a very intense thing, let's do that. And it worked. I thought that was very, very cool. I did feel bad for her about her mom passing. It's sad. All that stuff is sad, but I like that character. I'm interested to find out more about her. That's going to be fun, man. So, excuse me, if we're going to move her on to, if they do more Captain Marvel stuff, which I'm sure they'll do at least one more. I don't think anybody's done, and that includes Black Panther. Even with them saying Black Panther's done, I don't believe it.
I don't buy that.
I don't either. I don't think that's the case at all.
No, sir.
No, sir. I don't believe it. But anyway, I'm sorry, to the point, this is jerky, but the point I was trying to make about getting all those people on screen together at the same time. You have to remember how effective Darth Vader in Rogue One was. Remember how effective the lone X-Wing was in Mandalorian. People love that shit. They love it, and we loved it in real time in Infinity War. So now you've got a whole other group of people coming up behind us. It'll be 3 times the number of people, which is shocking because everybody in the world saw those movies the first time. I just totally think that that's got to be the payoff you're going for. If you can get there, it's like with Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi. If you don't get there, you don't get there, but it's got to be what you're trying to push towards. They've got to be pushing towards getting those two guys together. And it's great.
Heck yeah, man.
It's great. Now Tamazon literally calling out Anderson and Gallows, as he should be. I don't mean to make that sound ridiculous, because that whole Tonga's mad at Carl Anderson's like, you obviously don't know anything about those guys. They are brothers. And Finn's a brother too. I'm not saying he's gonna get in there, but I'm saying that they all still love each other, so Yeah, man. I did remember to finally set NXT to record again, finally, because with Pat McAfee's punk ass at home, I can watch it again. And I'm just in time, because apparently this Wednesday is O'Reilly and Balor, and I'm like, yes!
Oh my God. That's going to beat the crap out of each other again.
They will. I can't wait. I just can't wait.
Heck yeah, man.
Oh, man, forgive me. I'm sorry. I did say O'Reilly and Balor. I'm sorry. It's Adam Cole and Finn Balor.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, that's what I meant to say. And I'm stoked as hell, because we talked about it, man. Like, that was the whole thing, was I really wanted the NXT run that I wanted was with him being the champ, go on the King run and be like, man, I'm the best there's ever been. And then start bringing ex-champs back, starting with Finn Balor, for him to beat. And then eventually have him drop it to Keith Lee. And all that got fast forward. And it's okay. It's not like we can't do it. We're doing it right now. But I love that they're wrestling each other. I'm very excited, because I said last week that Bayley's the best pro wrestler on earth. And I think she's way up there, just because all things considered. That was something interesting. I was talking about episode 9 for WandaVision. Television, I say this about wrestling all the time, man. Apparently, and I've learned, I shouldn't say apparently, but I have learned, I am not a good pro wrestling fan, because anyone that doesn't get anything out of storylines or promos, which I don't, why do you watch then? Well, physicality. I like the performers in the ring doing that thing. And with television shows, it's the complete opposite. I don't care about the fight scenes at the end, but I love the stories that get you there. And I never thought about that before, but I'm like, yeah, that really is what your problem is that with wrestling, it's just the action. And with television, the action is secondary. Anyway, all things considered, I think Bayley's way up there. And Adam Cole, I would still have on that short list of, like, sweet, good almighty. He is just... They said if Adam Cole, I don't know. We talked about it. Like, should Adam Cole go up to Should he get called up, or stay at NXT, or go to AEW? And I love AEW, but I wouldn't want Adam Cole to go there for nothing because they've already got so many people, and he's on a good track right now, especially as long as he stays at NXT. I love that guy, so I'm
Mhm.
excited with him where he is. Makes me happy.
Heck yeah. Talk, talking about sports of where I feel like I'm a bad fan of. Uh, I'm the worst NBA fan there is. I turned on the NBA All Star game
Yeah.
from Atlanta last night, and I, I'm pretty. This may not be a rule, but I'm pretty sure it is. It feels like the skills competition of the rundown pass thing is almost exclusively for the rookie guys, or at least first or second year, because every year whoever wins it, I'm like, who? Who was that?
The reason you don't recognize the people that win the skills competition, something you and I've talked about a lot.
Usually Croatian or something like that.
That's right, because the kid that won it, Domantas Sabonis, the
Mhm.
progeny of Arvydas Sabonis. Arvydas Sabonis was, I think, 7'3" and weighed about 330 pounds when he played in the NBA. And it took years. Arvydas, we're Hawks fans, so Arvydas has a very special place in our hearts because I think it was 74, 75, somewhere in there. The Atlanta Hawks had like the second overall pick in the NBA draft and spent it on him at the
Mhm.
height of the Cold War. Never, ever saw the floor for the Atlanta Hawks, but he
Mhm.
was so good, they wanted the rights just in case. And years later,
Yeah.
when he finally came over and played in Portland, you had this 40-year-old Eastern European giant who's drifting out and drifting out and drifting out and hitting threes and drifted back in and dominating down low because he's 340 pounds. Then he'll draw the double team and make the pass. Then he's doing no looks. Then he's doing Magic Johnson. No, Arvydas Sabonis is one of the craziest players ever
Mm-hmm.
until you fast forward and you find out that not to that level because the skill takes over with the level. But as far as being able to do everything, look at Nikola Jokic, man.
Yeah.
Look at all of them. Look at freaking Dirk. Look at
Mm-hmm.
Tingus Pingus.
Yep.
The
Yep.
fundamental game is drilled into European players so hardcore that when you find somebody who's got amazing skill, they take those fundamentals. And it's bird magic. People get mad when you
Mm-hmm.
say that, but it's true. The kids saw Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and said, "That's what I want to be," and that's still how they coach them to play there. So you've
Mm-hmm.
always got European kids winning the skills competition because they're good at that stuff. That's
Yeah.
what they do. I love it. I think it's real cool, and it's one of those things where if you actually watch the All Star game, you look at Team LeBron's starting lineup. It was like this is LeBron and the World All Stars, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a reason they went buck wild crazy and beat the ever loving crap out of Team Durant. Well, it's because Kevin Durant wasn't playing. Maybe so. I think KD's a good deal, but he ain't that good. He ain't good enough
Yeah.
to pull you back from that brink. They got the snot kicked out of them, man. But it was because it's LeBron and Giannis and Luca.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon me, Steph was out there. I mean, there was no chance. When you saw those rosters, it's like there is no chance, especially when you consider that on Team Durant was James Harden, and you know Magic City was calling his ass halfway through the first
Oh yeah.
quarter. He was ready to
Yeah.
go. That man, that
Yeah.
place is to be, man. He's got Magic City on this side and the cheetah down the road. It's like,
Yeah.
no, he was ready to go, y'all.
All right, man. We can wrap this up. Wrap it up.
Yeah, for
We
real.
gotta go.
I'm good, right? I'm done. I showed up. But
Things. Things I do.
the All Star game was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. If
I like to consider myself. I'm sorry. I like to consider myself. I'm by no means uh, encyclopedia of the NBA or what's going on today, but it's you would think if somebody's on the All Star team, I'd be a lot more familiar. And there's a whole group of guys that show up, and I'm like, do what?
Yeah, man.
Who?
It's that thing we talk about, man. As far as like national media, they don't talk about those guys because they don't play football. I say it all the time. It's true. ESPN's number one goal in life is put the NFL over. They don't talk about nothing else. So yeah, man, to
Yeah.
like find out there really were no surprises on the All-Star team this year. It was some frustrating shit, especially with Ben Simmons, who didn't even play, and Joel Embiid, who didn't even play because Doc Rivers, their coach, especially with for Pete's sake, Ben Simmons. Of course, he's not going to waste him. He's not going to put him in the game and get minutes on them legs. He didn't even dress. But my problem is, you're in Atlanta. Y'all saw Steph Curry go out there and have that 3-point contest. How cool would it have been if it was him versus Trey doing that shit?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
them putting Ben Simmons on the team and then not even playing him, I'm like, that's sorry. Y'all should have put Trey in there. I thought Trey should have had Jason Tatum's spot only because, sorry, the Celtics are having way too bad of a year to have 2 All-Stars. And Jason Tatum's a very good player, but Jaylen Brown deserves the All-Star spot. So I'm still mad Trey didn't go, but especially with his the show that Curry put on in the 3-point contest, the only thing could have made that more fun is if it could have possibly been them going at each other. That was cool. Yeah. But that anymore, I think, is very cool. That the 3-point contest is the show, because the dunk contest sucks. Nobody watches that anymore because it's crap. Well, it's because the stars don't do it anymore. It's because there's nothing left to fucking do.
Yeah, it's all been done.
And it's all subjective. If you want to know what ruined the dunk contest, it's 88. Because Dominique Wilkins went out there and kicked the ever-loving shit out of Michael Jordan's ass up one side of the Chicago court and down the other, and they gave it to Michael anyway. So superstars saw that and were like, well, anybody that's a bigger star than me is always going to win anyway, so fuck that. What you giving me, $100,000? Come on.
Yeah.
I'd rather rest my knees.
And that's where I'm at with virtually any of the professional sports thing. When it comes to All-Star Weekend, the game's not the thing to me. It's the other stuff. It's the home run derby and the futures games and things like that. And the interest of the NFL, I think it would be a lot better served if they would just do a Madden tournament and a punt, pass, and kick competition, something. But nobody's going to get there and play the game.
Nobody cares about the Pro Bowl. Nobody. And it's trash. They need to get rid of that. Nobody cares. It's junk. The All-Star game used to have some fun. The NBA All-Star game is fucking awesome, especially now that they've implemented that Kobe Bryant rule in the fourth quarter. Because those boys get out there and kill each other in that fourth quarter. I mean, they really, well, nobody plays defense. Boy, you ain't been watching the fourth quarters lately, have you? Because even last night, it was very one-sided. I mean, LeBron was up big. But they were cracking each other, man, because they want to win. They want to get that money for whoever the charity is, man. So it worked. That rule of like, okay, playing to 24 it worked. It's pretty cool. That was something else cool, was that the shot to win the game, to get to 170. Steph Curry and Damian Lillard, it was the games within the games. It's right. The competition, you don't care about that. It's just an exhibition and it's fun. But guys, you had Chris Paul throw an alley-oop to Steph Curry. Then you had Curry throw one to Chris Paul, and that became this huge thing of who could do the alley-oop with everybody else. It was just awesome. Giannis went absolutely crazy and murdered everybody the whole game. That was cool. But to end the game, Damian Lillard and Steph Curry started taking half-court shots to see who could hit them. And Curry got one, then Lillard got one. And then to end the game, Curry brings the ball up just past half court and takes one to see if he can win the game, and he misses. They come up next time, and Damian Lillard takes one from half court and won the game with a half court shot, because it's just them doing ridiculous little end game, let's have fun stuff. It was cool, man. But as far as the best thing about the All-Star game is passing, because nobody plays defense. So just the stuff people come up with, it's like, it's impressive as hell, man. It was fun. It was quite cool. It is the only one. I mean, it's the only All-Star game that is any fun at all. But if you're watching it for competition, it's not fun anyway, because for 3 quarters, they don't. It's not like that. It's not what they're out there to do, man. It's just fun.
Man, so it was one of those kind of things I had kind of on in the background, and expected to hear a lot more about it today than I got today, and didn't have time to get any highlights. It's like, oh crap.
Yeah. About the only storyline you'll get from the All-Star game is, well, LeBron really kind of jacked it, didn't he? What's up with LeBron only playing 8 minutes? He told y'all he wanted the break. He wanted the time off, and the league told him he could have it, and then they decided they were going to have their All-Star game. So that guy that y'all want everyone dislike as much as you dislike him, but is incredibly popular within that union that he's a part of. They pretty much all banded together and said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get together and we're going to put this fucking game to bed, and then you can sit. So I think Brian played 8 minutes all night because why not? He wanted a break. It's all like, oh, you got to play on the All-Star team. Okay, cool. I'll show up. And he did show up, and he's out there the whole time having a blast, laughing at everybody, just doing ridiculous junk. But it's just the camaraderie in basketball baseball is very, very good, but basketball is absolutely unparalleled because you can have guys that hate each other, but they will circle the wagons if it's media, especially if it's ESPN, because they know what ESPN is. Watch somebody do an interview with TNT versus ESPN and just
night and day.
Oh yes, because one is real frigid and the other is super, super warm embrace, fuzzy shoe friendly. It's like they know what's up, man.
Yeah.
But I love that stuff. And on the subject of people the media hate, Kyrie Irving is. I know that people hate Kyrie. Everyone's supposed to hate Kyrie. Well, we have that thing going around now about all the, Me Too people, and you got to separate the art from the artist. And I do think that's a good policy. I was talking, you and I have discussed that before, and I know that we're on the same page here. I was talking with my friends recently about Shia LaBeouf, who's somebody I really like. I think he's very underrated. Well, you're not supposed to like Shia LaBeouf anymore. And don't get me wrong, the people I was talking to, they were talking about how it was ridiculous as well. But it's like, I didn't even, she was explaining to me, I didn't even know, I hadn't heard anything about it. But it's like, oh no, you can't like Shia LaBeouf now. Shia LaBeouf, he's a bad guy. You can't like him anymore. So we got discussing who it's okay to like and who it's not. And I was like, man, I got lots of practice in this. I'm a Woody Allen fan. And those of us that are Woody Allen fans, we've got lots of practice dodging the bullets. So, it's like, it's one of them things where, it is what it is, but it's like, who cares? If you like it, that's cool. And if you don't, that's cool too. Because the reason I refuse to be shamed into a position on any of that stuff is because I ain't never met anybody who was on any cancel culture crusade that wouldn't draw the line somewhere. Because once you get to someone they like, it's hands off. And I'm like, there you have it. It's not the issue, it's the person. You like having this person to go after and talk junk about. So there you have it.
Well, there you have it. Speaking of cancel culture and talking about bringing it back to Disney Plus, it's not enough just to fire Gina Carano. Disney wants to end her career. They've been going after her like super hardcore, and I'm like, who did she not sleep with? Who did she piss off? Because to me, that's what it feels like. It just sounds like, man, I don't agree with some of the stuff that she posted. At the same time, I don't think any of it was fireable. There's you would think, and that's their defense. That's what they use as their defense. Like, she was warned, and I'm like, at the same time, there's so many people that soldier on because there's somebody that we're kind of like, but they get to do whatever transgression that they don't get called out for. But this particular person, like, somebody got to knock her down a peg. But it's one thing to fire her, but it really feels like they're like, we are going to make sure that she never has a career again.
Does it feel like she broke Disney's NDA? Because we were talking about that earlier, that a Disney NDA ain't one to mess with, man.
That ain't nothing to mess with.
Oh, dude, seriously.
Yeah, man. That's where just the fallout from that. I'm like, my Lord, what in the who did she piss off? Because she pissed them off royally.
Whoever she got upset, she did it properly. She did a good job. On the subject of who'd she piss off, man, I have stumbled upon this movie review show on YouTube, and it's years old. It's been around for years. I've never heard of it. I've never seen it. I'm sorry, but it's called Deep Focus Lens. DEEPFOCUSLENS, just like it sounds. Deep Focus Lens, and it's just this woman sitting in front of her bookshelf doing reviews for different movies. And the thing that I love about it is something you and I've talked about before. It's not what came out yesterday. It's not coming attractions. It's not the latest and greatest from Netflix. Oh my God, let's talk about it. She'll review stuff from 1973, She'll review stuff from 2011. She'll review stuff from whenever she saw it and whenever she wants
Yeah.
to talk about it. And she picks really, really, really unusual things to talk about. So it's
Hmm.
super interesting. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is cool. I stumbled upon it because I just typed in Nocturama review because I love that movie. And I'm like,
Mhm.
sometimes it's fun to hear people talk about movies that you like and you can see if you got something in common. So she's doing a review for Nocturama. And then that led into I think it was 2017. I might be wrong, but it's like best movies of 2017. So I'm like, okay, well, I totally agree with you on Nocturama. So let's see what else she got. So I watched her list of the best movies of I think it was 2017. It might have been newer, so more recent than that, or less recent, longer ago than that.
Yeah.
And she only does a list of about 8 or 9 because she says in the video, I don't do 10, I don't pick a number. These are just the ones that I really liked. And of
Mhm.
all the things that she picked, I'd only ever seen one other one. So there was like 2 that I had seen, and about, I'm going to say half a dozen, 7 of them that I hadn't. And I'm like,
Mhm.
cool, I got some stuff to watch. And one of the ones she picked was the thing, it's called Certified Copy. I'd never heard of it before. But her
Yeah.
description of it was fascinating because she's like, no, not too much detail. I mean, if she's gonna do detail, she'll tell you. But it's like she's like, first of all, she said Juliette Binoche was in it, so I'm like, well, that's a big
Interesting.
old, yeah, big old check in the plus column.
Hmm.
And so she's like, it's a deceptively simple movie because it seems very, very simple and very straightforward right up until it doesn't. And then when it doesn't, you'll try and start trying to figure out at what point it stopped being so simple. And I don't want to get into it and ruin it either, but I watched it, and I'm telling you, the very next thing I did after I saw that movie was subscribe to that channel because we were
Yeah.
3 for 3 on movies that there was a movie called Holy Motors that is a very interesting, very, very unusual movie. And she loved it. I liked it.
Mhm.
Nocturama, very unusual. We both loved it. Certified Copy blew my head off. I loved it so much. So anyway, that's a channel to check out. And I brought that
Cool.
up for a reason. Oh, I know what it was. We were talking about, man, who ticked her off?
Hmm.
Well, one of the things I came across on there because she's a musician. Apparently, her parents are classical pianists, and so she learned music as a kid, always talking music.
Yeah.
And she mentioned this album. Sorry about my voice, y'all. It's dying because the air is getting worse.
Hmm.
The album is called All Bitches Die.
Hmm.
The artist is I'm going to say this wrong, but I think it's Lingua Ignota. Her real name is, I think Kristen Hayter is her real name, but she performs as Lingua Ignota. I'm going to spell it, so maybe that'll help.
Hmm.
Lingua is the first name. Ignota is the last name. And I'm going to tell you something. If you're in a mood, if you just want to hear something really unusual, something experimental, and a lot of people talk about heavy metal music and like this weird, almost like sense of dread, like they don't want to listen to it because, oh, that's all that devil shit, and I don't know about that. Then they'll listen to it and be like, oh, well, that's not what I expected at all.
Hmm.
What you expected heavy metal to be with like the soundtrack to Revelation,
Hmm.
all bitches die. That is one of the most intense pieces of music it is almost impossible to describe
Hmm.
because it's part electronica, part classical music, part opera, and part just absolutely blood curdling. It's not even like metal lyrics because it's not the sludgy grr stuff. It's not,
Hmm.
you've seen oh God, what's her name? Oh, I just forgot her freaking name, man. The crazy like demon girl wrestler on Abaddon on
Abbott. Yeah.
AEW.
Hmm.
If Abaddon was a band,
There you go. There you
I'm telling you that it is incredibly good music. Now you got to be in a
go.
particular mood to listen to it, and it might not do it
Yeah.
for you at all. But at the
Hmm.
same time, if like it's very, very dramatic. That's why I said opera because the parts that
Hmm.
she just sings, she has a really good voice,
Hmm.
but there is an opera quality.
Hmm.
It's hard to explain, but seriously, yeah, Abaddon reading the Book of Revelation. That's what that album
Ah.
sounds like. It's so good, man. I can't recommend it highly enough if that sounds like something that would interest you. And the
Hmm.
only other thing I will add is that in the description I heard of it was the term performance art. And I'm a big fan of performance art. I think it's interesting. I like when people come up with shit I've never seen before.
Yeah.
So I'm like, cool, let's see what this looks like live. Oh my.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. It is literally, it's just this little room with wood bleachers and probably about 25 people. And there's a keyboard set up playing back the music. So the vocals are live, the music is recording. And you have this bedraggled, like haunted demon woman skulking around the stage, skulking literally around the stage with a microphone, screaming bloody murder into that microphone. This weird, like, it almost looks like an extension cord, but a collection of them coming out the back or down her back. And what it is with the extension cords is she's got like drop lights, like people hang up when they're working on the basement, stuff like that. And she's wearing them around her neck. That's the only lights in the room. So it's her walking around, and then just what it lights up and when it coordinates with her singing or screaming or whatever. It's awesome. The only thing better than listening to the album is watching her sing it, because I'm like, there's no way. I listened to it and I'm like, God, how would you perform this live? And then you watch it and it's like, fuck me, man. It is so impressive. It is just intense and wonderful and impressive as hell. So anyway, if anybody checks that out, y'all let me know what you think. She has a second album too called Caligula, but the first one is the only one I've listened to, because I want to completely immerse myself in All Bitches Die, and then I'll move to Caligula.
Yeah,
That's how I do it. That's my thing with the. I really do. I'm with you on WandaVision. I definitely want to go back and get a second view. And it turns out, I think we talked about it, that I was pretty sure, cheap prick that I am, of course, I went to see, like, well, let's see if Disney Plus has a trial offer anymore. And they don't. And that's okay that they don't. That's okay. I just wanted to see. And it turns out that it's good, because a week would have been fine, but it's $7 for a month. I give you $7 so I can watch it twice. No problem. Take my time.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll get around to Mandalorian, which I got to tell you about the Mandalorian. I feel really bad about the last conversation we had on that, because I am afraid that I made it. This is for all the viewers and to the man. I am afraid that I made it sound like I was trying to explain to you that I was not going to watch The Mandalorian. You are among the very few people I know that has never put any kind of pressure on me at all to watch that show. So if I made it sound like you, I apologize. It was not you, man, because you're always very good about, like, dude, watch it, don't watch it. It's fine, whatever, man. I don't care. So that's cool. And so I didn't want to be a prick about, hey, man, just leave me alone with all this thing you're not saying. Stop pressuring me in the way that you're not, never have. So I just wanted to be clear that it's like, oh, crap, I should have said that. So now I've said that. It's cool. But with having the extra time on Disney Plus, like, okay, you check it out now. And also, I got to watch Lilo and Stitch before I turn it off. I haven't seen it in a while, and I love that movie. So next time I'm in the mood for a good cry, I'm going to put Lilo and Stitch on.
Man, right when you think about turning off Disney Plus, you're kind of like, oh man, I hadn't watched Black Cauldron in a minute.
Oh man, it's like the Michael Corleone. They pulled me back in.
Or man, of all the freaking live action versions of their classic cartoons, where's Black Cauldron? Where's Sword in the Stone?
It's a good question. We like Game of Thrones sword and arrow stuff. People dig that stuff. So
you could almost merge those into one.
Yeah, I could see that. That'd be cool if they did. I would love it. And I know I've told you before that the live action one I want is Atlantis, man. I don't know if they'll do it or not, but that Atlantis was cool. I like that movie, and I'm like, oh my God, if you took that aesthetic, put it in live action, I could get down with that. That'd be cool.
That's kind of, you're talking about the Emma Stone Cruella movie. That was the first reaction I had. I was like, man, Glenn Close did that. It's been done.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to go Maleficent on that A. Yeah. And we're not straight up doing 101 Dalmatians. We're doing Cruella.
Yeah, man, I can get down with that. But I will admit to you straight away, the reason I can get down with it is I am very, very biased Emma Stone fan. I just am. And I love the stills. I love the photos. They look really, really cool.
Yeah. I'm there for it.
I'm with you. I totally understand, man, because it's like doesn't take much. it was weird. We were talking about it was when we were discussing Birdman,
Mhm.
and Birdman probably is my favorite movie that she's in.
Mhm.
But boy, second would be hard to pick. Easy A is
There's a lot.
Easy A is a shockingly fantastic movie. It's cool.
Oh yeah.
Easy A is one of those ones that it seems to me that when that came out, it had a lot of like critical, like, no, this is nice. This one's real good. And it's one of those things where I don't think a ton of people saw it, but I don't think anyone saw it that didn't. Yeah, this is special.
Yeah.
I like this. I think everyone that saw it got that same like, man, I'm glad I saw that one vibe from it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's like a spiritual successor to 10 Things I Hate About You in that regard, because I don't know anyone that didn't like that movie.
Mhm.
I remember,
Mhm.
remember Andy Fincher? We went to high school with Andy Fincher.
Yeah.
We were working at the video store when that movie came out, and I don't know why, but this is one of those conversations he and I had that I just remember because it was just this stupid, weird little bonding moment. And Andy was cool. We always got along. It wasn't that. It was just like,
Mhm.
yes, you are seen. I hear you. I
Yeah.
agree with you. Congratulations, sir. And we were talking about that movie, and he was like, man, he's like, the only thing, that was a good movie. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool, man. He's like, there's one thing I don't get, though. He's like, man, they've got the younger sister running around that high school like she owns the place. And they've got the older sister like condemned to the corner. And it's like, man, have none of them ever looked at that girl that plays the elder sister? And I'm like, yes, sir. You got it right. Yeah, thank you for saying it because Julia Stiles is out of this world. Beautiful. I agree with you. You are right. Yes, sir. Take a bow,
Yeah.
sir. And I was like, it's like, is that don't make any sense to me? And I'm like, you're right. It doesn't make sense because that's bullshit.
That one. That one.
Dude, seriously. Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Miss Dumb, but I remember that conversation.
Yeah. Right on.
Yeah, dude, seriously. Julia Stiles is good looking. We had that conversation. It was great.
I'm a genius.
Yeah, for real. It was fantastic.
Heck yeah, man. That's what's going down.
Yeah, that is what's it. Excuse me. I'm just
Heck yeah,
gusted.
man. Y'all be cool.
Dude, take it easy, y'all. Thank you for putting up with the voice. I appreciate it, y'all.
All right. Bye.